Go.
Hello and welcome to Beaverdale Books. Thanks for coming out tonight. Before we begin, I want to share a couple of our upcoming events. Tomorrow evening, we have Susie Lynn. She's going to be here talking about her book, Search, An Adoptee's Journey to Find Her Biological Family. And that's at 6:30 tomorrow night. Then on next Wednesday, August 12th, Melissa Koch will talk about her book, Stone by Stone, A Rock's Journey Through Time. And that's a children's book. It's a beautiful children's book. And you can find all the details about our upcoming events on our website, or we have a list over at the checkout desk. Now, on to tonight's program. Action-packed and full of twists, Football Spy is the next thrilling installment in Zane's high-stakes journey, where football isn't just a game, it's life or death. Scott Reister gets to live out his childhood dream with his job as an award-winning sportscaster, traveling the country and covering incredible stories and events. He and his wife live in Iowa with 3 children, any one of which may be a spy. Football Spy is his second middle-grade novel, following his critically acclaimed 2024 debut, Baseball Spy. Now, please join me in a warm welcome for Scott Reister.
Hi. Thank you for anybody watching. I don't know if Ryan's beautiful head of hair is blocking that phone.
Oh, we'll
I was
see.
waving at the phone anyway. Yes, anyway, thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Jan. Alice, Beaverdale Books is amazing. And it's really a dream come true to be able to have this idea when I was a kid. And I know I spoke to your school about it. And for those that don't know, when I was growing up playing sports and getting bored and daydreaming, I used to try to make the stakes a little higher in my mind by pretending that if we didn't win, we would all blow up and die, right? And I had this idea, thought it'd be a great book, and it didn't work unless I knew what I was doing, so I never really wrote the books. I tried to here and there when I was younger, and finally I was about 35, 36, 7, somewhere in there, and I was like, I got to get this figured out. And so I got a lot of help from a lot of different people learning how to write, a lot of podcasts that I listened to, a lot of story structure, failed a whole lot. I got a lot of help from some librarians, other authors. I finally got a draft done. Then we got it better and better and better. And then I got the agent, and then I got the book deal. And then the book came out 2 years ago, Baseball Spy. And by then it was probably a 7 or 8 year process. But I will say, once it finally went through all those edits for years and years and years, it really was a remarkable final product where every single word was there for a purpose. No wasted. I'm not wasting anybody's time. Just like on TV, I'm not going to say a single word that, if I can make it shorter and to the point more, that's the goal, and get to the point right away, inciting incident very early. So I think that's what everybody loved about Baseball Spy, and just the unique genre of sports and spies kind of melded together. And yes, Football Spy just continues the story. There's this awesome twist once you find out who the bad guy is and what happens at the end of Baseball Spy. There's that great twist at the very end of it, and then those same characters then go on the new journey in Football Spy. It takes place about 6 weeks later. First day of high school, first day of 9th grade for Zane Mitchell. His friends from the baseball team are there, and he finds out that the key to saving someone he loves lies on the football field. He's dealing with trying to save this person, doesn't think he's going to play football, but then he has to end up making the football team kind of late in the game because the season's about to start. He's got to make the team, then he's got to figure out who the bad guy is. And it does sound like a similar plot, and it is, and at first I was worried about that, but one of my author friends that I made said, Scott, you ever seen a James Bond movie? Every single one is the exact same, and people love them. It's okay. So I didn't worry so much about that, but what I will say is in the 2 years since I wrote this and all the writing I did for Football Spy, I definitely have grown as a writer, and the emotional attachment to the characters that you develop during Baseball Spy starts to really pay off in the different character arcs that I present in Football Spy. So you're going to get that same fast-paced action, but I think the emotional depth of the conflicts of the characters really starts to stand out a lot more in Football Spy, which I think makes it a much more powerful book. And the people that have read it so far have told me they do like it even better than Baseball Spy. And to me, I've been looking at this manuscript ever since Baseball Spy came out. Like, I actually had multiple drafts of that done, and it's like you don't know if it's really good if you stared at it for so long. But to hear the feedback has been great, and I'm just really, really excited for people that read Baseball Spy. Young and old to, I'm not pointing at anyone in particular when I say old. Right. But I'm just really excited for you to see what happens to the characters in Football Spy, and there's that same thrilling pace, that same mystery of what's really going on and who's doing what, and then the payoff at the end. You get that, and then of course I am going to leave you hanging, wanting more. There is that twist, and because it is a 3-book series, this is book 2 of 3, so I had to leave that. I had to leave a lot left for us to accomplish in Basketball Spy. I finished a draft of Basketball Spy before this one launched, and they sent back edits, and there was like, oh yeah, story structure's great, and here's some line editing, and I was like, I know, but what about the story? And they're like, yeah, it's great. So I don't know if it's gonna. I kind of want them to like blow it up and start over, but if it's going to come out next year, I should probably leave well enough alone and say, okay, go ahead and publish what this is. But Basketball Spy, I'm really excited for that. That should be the end of the series, the 3rd one, unless we decide to do another round or 2, but who knows. But it is certainly a fun world that I've been living in. Does anybody have any questions for me about Football Spy or the series? Yes, go ahead.
Well, the last time you were here, there was a young man who was twisting your arm about Soccer Spy.
Right.
Yes. So
that is the number one question I'll get. And I think you guys probably asked me that when I visited your school, right? Yeah, everybody always says, when's Soccer Spy? And believe it or not, Football Spy was originally going to be Soccer Spy. And so, the reason I did Football Spy is it's actually kind of a mechanical reason. I could not figure out the technology of the spy equipment on a soccer field. That's all it was. Because, like, in baseball field, like, I'm sorry, let me think of this. Okay, so in baseball, like, if you read Baseball Spy, you figure out how the mechanics work, things would go bad. In football, like, he has something in his cleats, and if he doesn't get into the end zone near where the sensor is, like, I was able to, like, write that method of, like, everything going haywire if he doesn't score. And I just thought for like months on how to make it work when the ball went into the soccer net or how to drill into the ball. And I just couldn't figure out how to make a story out of it. So I was able to figure it out with football. But this very easily could have been Soccer Spy. Yeah, question.
I have an idea of like basic mechanics.
I would love to hear it. I need help.
They put mechanics inside the soccer ball, and then when it goes into a specific goal, then that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I was getting close to that. I just couldn't quite figure out how to do it. So, hi guys. So, yeah, it was, I'm close. So if there is a 4th book, there's a good chance it'll be Soccer Spy. But I'm so excited for you guys to read this one and then Basketball Spy after that. Because basketball was my favorite sport when I was growing up. Yeah. Come on in, guys. There's some chairs if you want them. Any other questions about the series? All right. Yes, go
another
ahead,
one.
Jen, and then I'll ask you guys some questions.
Okay, if this would be turned into a movie or a series, even, any ideas on who would play Zane?
Zane Mitchell, well, Ryan Reister right there is my son. Say hi, Ryan. So he is 15 now. But yeah, you'll notice Zane, one of the reasons he had to have long hair in the story is because he was hiding the earpiece he had as he went on these missions. And I was really visualizing Ryan, and because so in my mind, like, Zane is my son Ryan. And in the book, the dad's name is Ryan, which I know is kind of a weird, messed up thing. I could have just named him Ryan, but Zane sounded unique and kind of different. But anyway, so yes, Ryan, who is an actor himself, although he's 15, would definitely be cast as my 14-year-old. We'll have a new actor on the scene. He's not a Hollywood star yet, but that would be a good one. I don't know enough about current young teenage actors, but do you guys have any suggestions of, I don't know.
Do you?
Right.
No.
Well, by the time this would be a movie, it would be 15 years from now anyway.
Yeah.
So someone being born right now that grows up to be a child actor by the time this comes out. Because one thing I learned with this whole process is how glacially slow publishing is and movie rights. I don't know if any of you know Tracy Garvis Graves, who's got books in this bookstore right now in the library. She wrote On the Island. She's a huge best-selling author who lives in Iowa. She had rights to her hit book On the Island purchased like a long time ago, but it's just in developmental hell permanently, so she's never expecting that to get made. But I do believe, and if you guys have read this and kind of visualized what it would be like as a movie, I think it would be great. So I do have an agent. That was part of the process of getting the book deal, and the agent's job is to reach out. They were able to get an audiobook deal for Baseball Spy, which is great. That one's in the works for Football Spy. It's not out yet. But yeah, if the agent was able to make those connections and make this into a series, it'd be great. Yeah, I know. If you know a guy, let me know. So, but that would be the ultimate dream to see, be able to turn on Netflix and, you can watch 6 episodes of this, 8 episodes of that, 4 episodes of Basketball Spy. That would be really
Ted
cool.
Lasso.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be really fun. So anytime I see anybody remotely connected to the industry, I was like, slip my book. I've turned it into like one of those actors, at the breakfast places in LA, just like dropping scripts over the side of the booth to the director eating breakfast over there. But it is super fascinating that now that I do have a published book from a real publisher and stuff, you're quote unquote in the game and out there like that. So great question, and it's a fun thing to think about for sure.
And then what about females? There's a whole other gender that you could.
Yes, in terms of what?
Right, being the main character.
Right.
Yeah,
So
the main character.
yes, and I was very intentional about Amber having such a large role in this story because I didn't want. I mean, obviously, you look at this cover, you're thinking, what girl's going to want to read this book? So maybe I should have included a girl silhouette with like a ponytail or something on the cover also. But that, maybe that would have given too much away about the twist for Baseball Spy. But yeah, it was done on purpose. That Amber is an awesome, female hero of this book. And one of the first book visits I did at one of the schools in Urbandale, there was a girl with red hair, I think named Claire. I don't remember this. Anna, you know who she is? Yeah.
Who's that?
Yeah, she came up to me after I talked to the class, and she'd read Baseball Spy, and she said, Scott, Amber was so inspiring to me, and because of, and I know what Amber went through in the book, and I got goosebumps because this person doesn't exist. So this creation of my mind that I worked on when I was, putting these kids to bed 10 years ago, is now alive in the world, and kids can relate to these people, just like you guys all watch a TV show and you think about the characters. Or read a book. So, yes, girl power all the way. That's really one of the themes of the book. And she really elevates her game in Football Spy as well. She really carries this book, even more than Zane in some ways in Football Spy. So, yes, great question. Yes, go ahead.
When you first had this idea to start writing, did you have a series in mind, or did it just start with?
It's another great question. So in Baseball Spy, I wrote this as a standalone book and thought it was going to be just one book. And then in the back of my mind, I always knew of that twist at the very end I could make in case somebody wanted me to write more than one. I could never imagine being able to write 2 more of these after I spent like 7 years on Baseball Spy. So the agent said, as soon as an agent offered to sign me, I was like, oh my God, yes. And she's like, but we're going to want to make this a series when I shop this to a publisher. And I said, okay, let's go. Let's stay there for about 1 second. I went back, I changed the ending. I don't want to spoil this for if you haven't read it, but that set up, obviously, the plot of Football Spy. So I kind of had that idea of where I could go with it. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think after you finish Basketball Spy, you start a new series?
Thank you for asking me that. We do have the idea for Presidents versus Dinosaurs. Did I tell you guys about that?
It was like from like 2015, and they didn't like it because one of the main characters was an adult, and they're allergic to people older than 18.
Right. So during COVID, I picked Sammy up from preschool, and he randomly says, who was alive in the olden days? Presidents and dinosaurs? And it was like his cutest little preschool comment, and I imagine an episode of Little House on the Prairie where, like, presidents and dinosaurs were just like roaming free, coexisting. And I was like, this was I guess right before COVID, and then COVID happened, and I was like, I'm gonna write that book with that ridiculous idea. At that stage, this book had been signed by my agent, a lady in Boston, but she hadn't yet secured a publishing deal, so I was kind of in a holding period. So all during COVID, I read this like super fat David McCullough biography on John Adams. It was like 900 pages. I don't know if you guys have read that before. And then I researched dinosaurs. So I was either reading about our founding fathers or dinosaurs. I got all this information, and then I put this time travel story together. And it had to do with some kids in modern day. They get sucked back in time, and the presidents also get sucked back in time. They have to work together and escape the dinosaurs. It's a really, really fun story. And then my agent read it and wanted me to rewrite it solely from the point of view from the teenagers, and I didn't want to do that. But anyway, once this runs its course, that's my goal, is to bring presidents and dinosaurs out of the world. Yes, go ahead.
I like the French guy. I forgot.
Yes, LaCroix, because we were drinking LaCroix bubbly water at the time. Yeah, but yeah, so that's a book that is only a Word doc in my inbox right now. But that's how these all started out also. That's how all these books started out. So
That's
It's fun to think, when I was your age, For the kids in the room, you don't realize that all these books actually are written by humans that at some point just had an idea and wanted to power through and get a book deal. So it's been super fun.
So how young were you when you thought about start thinking about?
I was probably 12, maybe 13. Yeah, I played baseball every year until I was about 15, I want to say. I was always in the outfield because I had a good arm, but yeah.
Thought about writing then?
I had this idea, like, I always dreamed of, like, having my name at the bottom of a book, like, in a bookstore. I just thought that would be the coolest thing ever. I really did. I was one of those kids that, like, was dying to get on TV at games, taking my shirt off, going like that. So, honestly, I just thought it would be really, really cool to write it. And then there was a movie called The Last Boy Scout. I want to say it was, like, Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans. And there was a scene in there where the guy's, like, running with the football, and then he just, like, takes out a gun and shoots the guy that's trying to tackle him. And I was horrified. I was like, oh, my God, like, that's the scariest, most terrifying thing ever. And then I thought back to that idea I had when I was a kid. Like, could there be some sort of, like, quasi, like, sports battle murder thing happening? And obviously it's not that intense or gory. Directly in these books, but I never could find another movie or book where it was like so directly meshed sports and spies. So for me, I was just like obsessed with that idea to the point where I never forgot about it, and I really, really wanted to try to write it, and that's when I got serious about it. I was just in the back burner for all those years, my entire life. Yeah. Trivia for a Tootsie Roll. Who can name what the CRU stands for? Not you two. You know it? Okay, how about this? What city does the book take place in? What's the major city that the suburbs near? Anybody know?
It's been too long since I read.
I'll give you a hint.
What state is it in?
It's our nation's capital. All right, I just gave you the answer.
Washington, D.C. No?
Yeah, what do you got? Very good. Here, Brian, would you grab some Tootsie Rolls for me? What else can I ask you? What's your favorite part of baseball, Spy? It's not really a trivia question. Here, catch. Thanks, guys.
One of my favorite parts was when Zane finally learned that he had been doing that for
You learn the truth behind what was really going on. Yeah, that was a fun, mind-blowing moment. Yeah, anytime you can take, you set up a scenario, people are thinking one thing, and then you realize that you've just been feeding a line of crap the entire book, and that there's really something else going on. So, yeah. All right, non-football spy question, but a football trivia. Who won the Super Bowl last year? Anybody remember? Who won the Super Bowl last year? Yeah. There you go. Awesome. All right, who won the World Series last year? Oh. Good. Yeah. Okay. What's the last book you read that wasn't Football Spy or Baseball Spy? Anybody? What book? Grounded for Eternity.
Yes.
That sounds like a good book. There you go. What about you, Sam?
Oh, I thought you said the last book you read.
The last book you read.
Oh, I don't know.
This is the last book I read. Actually, no, I read a different book. Yeah, what do you got, Janet?
I read Olivia Newton-John's autobiography.
All right.
It was awesome.
Good stuff. So yeah, that's about it. You guys know my life story by now, but it's been a super fun ride, and I'm really excited that you came, and I'm excited for you guys to read the book. And long live Zane Mitchell. Yeah. Oh, I will say one more thing before you clap, but thank you, Julie. So my football coach in junior high, I don't know if he's watching, I doubt he is, Coach Holiday, this guy was an absolute character. And that was the last year I played organized football, which is probably a good thing for my knees and brain and whatnot. But yeah, so I really drew on all those interactions I had with teammates that aren't nice. Let's be face it, like most of the kids in 9th grade, and they're going into 9th grade, but maybe some of them will be nice. But there's a lot of people, just like in Baseball Spy, there's people that aren't nice, right? And they make you feel like crap, and make you feel like an outsider. And all those things you have to navigate as a 9th grader in this competitive sports environment, especially if you're new on the team. I really drew on that. And then in Football Spy, like these cartoonish characters that I was coached by, like putting them in the book, like Coach Hall. I use the name Holiday, and that was my name, my coach's name. I just remember this guy, you got the gut, and it's like tucked in with the t-shirt right there, and the gut's all right there. You know what I'm talking about. Big bushy mustache, been there for 50 years, has a nickname for everybody. It doesn't make any sense. So anyway, it was really fun to kind of know what it was like back then. I don't know what it is like now, just being on the peripheral, but yeah, just drawing all those memories is really fun. It would have been a lot easier to write if I did this, 20 years ago. I would have had a fresher memory, but I think it turned out all right. So, yes.
One more question. So, you had the idea, and then did you outline it, or did you just go where the idea took you?
So I was, like I mentioned, real big on story structure. I wanted to be able to figure out the science behind writing, and it turns out by reading all these books and stuff, there's 15 beats you have to follow, and it's a formula, as you know. If you're ever interested in writing, Save the Cat is the book that is the best. It's by Jessica Brody. It lines like the science of that. So I bought writing software, Scrivener, and I was a hardcore planner because I really wanted to be able to bring in these huge twists a third of the way through and then 2/3 of the way through. In order to accomplish that, I really had to plan it out. It took a lot of trial and error to get it to where I wanted to, but then once you figure it out, you can go back and reverse engineer and change things that need to be set up a certain way. So a lot of planning, but also a combination of once you figure out where you got to go, then you can kind of freestyle and see what the characters do. But planning for sure is what allows you to set up these big payoffs and these big twists.
So was there a lot of editing?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's books where the scenes that never made it in because it didn't work, or I wrote them and then I realized, well, that doesn't work because I'm going to do this. So yeah, I think the heart of the story is still there for sure, but in order to figure out how to make it all work and get there, I had to sort of write these things out, fail, go back, fail 10 more times until I figured out how it needed to go. And then once I got the linear kind of aspect of it right, I could go back and add all these fun things. So.
Did you have really hard moments, or did it feel easy to you?
I definitely, it definitely ran into hard moments. There's days that it's so hard not to look at your phone, as you guys know, and so just going to the library and resisting the urge to look on the line as opposed to writing. I got 2/3 of the way through this book where everything was done. Oh, we're talking Football Spy now, sorry. But along this whole process, yes, there's many times where I'm never going to get this right. Allison, my wife back there, was like, what are you talking about? Keep going. So I knew I had to get it done. Just a matter of failing enough and knowing that every time I go there and fail, one step closer.
You got to fail a little bit.
You got to fail a lot, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, for this it was all what conflicts can I set up? And there has to be conflict on every page, and it was just what competing character arcs can happen and still be true to the plot. So it was fun.
From my perspective, just things like Baseball Spy, I think was just more organic, and then moving on to Football Spy, he really had to say, okay, I'm gonna go to the library for an hour just so I can write, and whether he wrote or not at that point, that was he definitely had to think about it more. Do you agree?
Absolutely, yeah, it's a rhythm. And it's the whole sequel thing. It's you ever watch a sequel and it sucks? It's because the author the writer of the movie puts all the good stuff in the first one. So I really had to. I wanted Football Spy to be better at a very, very high standard. And so if it was feeling like the same book, I just had to rip it up and start over. So it took a long time to get it to where it was better than Baseball Spy, but we got there.
So the plots are different?
Similar, but definitely different, and this sets up a lot more character stuff, yeah. But yeah, you'll feel like he's doing the same similar stuff, but once you get into why he has to join the football team, you'll realize exactly how it's different. I know I can't answer too much without spoiling it, but yeah, it's a different plot, and the scope has gotten a lot bigger. Da da da.
So what age group?
Great question. So I would say you have to be at least 8. So how old were you when you read Baseball Spy? Were you 9?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you understand it?
Yeah.
There you go. So if you were 8, you'd have to be a pretty good reader. But I say 8 and up. But yeah, it's for all ages. If you are a parent and want to read it to a younger kid, I know younger kids will get enough of it to enjoy it. But yeah, there's a shooting and there's blood and all that fun stuff. But kids love that. So I was a little worried. I was a little worried how much of that stuff I could put in. I didn't even know. And then there's a scene where the coaches start yelling at each other, and he says we're gonna kick your ass. And I was like, can I keep that in there? Sorry, pardon my French. Hi guys, thanks for coming. Yeah, so yeah, it was always a question of like, how much can I keep in there? How much can I not? They gave you a lot more leeway. Like, they wouldn't let me say DAMN. I don't know why I'm spelling that out now when I already said ASS, but like, I had to take out like a dam. I had to take that out of football supplies. They got a lot. Even though they call this one YA, they call this one middle grade. But there you go. Yeah.
So are you doing kind of the J.K. Rowling thing where
Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah,
it
that's what my
gets a
publisher
little
said.
more
Yeah.
complex?
Yeah, she said don't worry about it because the Harry Potter books get more and more intense as they progress, and little kids love those and eat them up. So like I said, there's a lot heavier emotional stuff in Football Spy. There's more graphic violence in Baseball Spy, more heavy emotional stuff. But yeah, it's all good. It's all the same magic, and if they want to call it YA for whatever reason, go for it. So who knows what Basketball Spy will be? What's next?
Yeah.
You're right. Smut.
Can you talk a little bit about the cover design? I always love to hear the story.
Do you guys want to see the... We're not going to watch this. You guys want to see the worst cover ever?
Oh, yeah.
Just kidding. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. It was their first original to me. So I first got the cover. For those you don't know, if you're a self-published author, you make your own cover. If you have a traditional book deal, it's all out of your hands. All creative control for this kind of stuff is out of your hands. But I will say that they were very good at allowing me to have feedback. And so I was really stressing out when Baseball Spy cover came out, or when Baseball Spy came out, because we didn't have any cover, and it was going to be out like in a month, and there was still no cover. And then I finally got the cover sent to me. I'm pulling it up, and my heart absolutely sank because finally we got there, and this is awesome. I love it. But the original one, hold on, we're going to get there. Okay. So here's the original one. I don't know if you guys can see this, but yeah, it was like a super little kid one. It was like anime. So it was like I wanted kids to think this is edgy. People are gonna die. It's super exciting and mysterious. So yeah, this was not that.
Here, Scott, show the Facebook.
Anyway, my publishers, who are awesome, worked with me, and we got it switched. And like they were like, we have these other options. And they sent it to me, and they still weren't right. And they were like, "Oh, we're running out of time. We got to just do something." And then they sent me a few more, and we're like, "This is the last choices we have." And they sent me this, and I was like, "That's it!" I just knew it right away. And at first, we had to change some things. Like the hat was too long; it looked like the hat from The Sandlot. The spikes had too many spikes on the feet; like they didn't have spikes in the middle. They had spikes in the middle where there should have been spikes. Like little small details that sports people like me would be like, "That looks funny." So we just adjusted it. They added like the baseball and stuff, and then all the stuff. So it just came out perfect. And then Football Spy, they did the same motif. I wasn't sure if they were trying to put a football in there. I'm glad they didn't because it would have been a weird shape. And then so Basketball Spy I can already kind of envision. So what color should I make Basketball Spy? Red?
Yellow.
Purple.
Yellow? Purple?
Or green. Green, yeah. I would like green.
Green? Yeah, green would be cool.
Uh-huh.
I will say that Hillendale's colors. Did you guys read Football Spy already?
Yeah, I read both of them.
You already read Football Spy? Wow, okay. Raise your hand here if you read Football Spy. Just you guys. Awesome. Yeah, so don't spoil it. So yeah, Football Spy, the Hillendale is white and red, so maybe it'll be red, I don't know. But we'll see.
Would my granddaughter like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which one did you guys like better, by the way?
I don't know. They're both really good.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
How old are you?
9.
You're 9? Okay, you're reading Football Spy?
You better take them on the road.
I know, I love it. I love it. Well, let me take a quick picture of you guys real quick, and then I'll sign some books, and I got some Tootsie Rolls for you guys, and it's so great to see everybody. Unless I'm kind of get short too soon. Unless you guys had any other questions. Here, I'll take a quick photo of everybody. All right, everybody make a face like we're all about to blow up.